Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On the DLL, where we're always talking about data, lifestyle, and laughs. I feel like I always frown when I say laughs, but today I didn't frown because I'm happy. I'm super excited to be joined with our guest, Jaffa. She's been someone I've been following for a while. She literally has just like the best content. She's also from Ghana, so I had to bring her on, especially after the Jollof slander that we had last episode. It was unacceptable. So I'm super excited to be joined here today. Welcome to the podcast. Tell the people who you are, what you want them to know about you, and let's get into it.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So my name is Maureen Jifa-Umequist. I'm a master's student in data science, and my undergrad was in economics and statistics. I love to dance. I dance a lot, almost every day.
Yes.
I love to write poems. And when I'm not dancing, I'm basically building dashboards in Tableau. I like to play around with Python. I like to code and just have fun with data, basically.
Wow. All right. I don't know. I'm so excited. I was even excited before we started talking, but now the introduction, I'm even more excited. There's a lot to talk about, lots to unpack. I was telling her earlier, I was like, it's going to be hard for me not to talk to you for 2 hours because there's just so much. And I think you're awesome. So let's start first with the data, right? Data, lifestyle, and laughs. Let's start with the data. So what really got you into data? What was your first entry point? What got you intrigued? What were you like, yes, I want to study this. I want to learn more about that. What was that for you?
I think that would be like third year in undergrad. I was with my cousin, who is the CEO right now of a fintech in Ghana. And he was always talking about data science this, data science that. And I was like, what's that? I really wanted to know more about it. So after my undergrad, I was like, okay, let's just do a master's degree in data science. And I got into data science. I realized, okay, it's cool. I like what I'm doing. I like how I play with data. And it wasn't really too far off from my undergrad because data science is like a mix of economics, math, statistics, computer science. So it was kind of in the way, like on my path. So my first year in master's degree, I really didn't like it because the first thing was like, I'm out of Ghana, I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm in a new environment with new people, new language. And I was like, okay, what am I doing here? I really didn't like it. But once I realized that data science was broad and I could narrow it down to exactly what I wanted to do, I started having the passion for it. I started falling in love with it. So that's how I basically started.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So number one, I think it's so cool that that's what your family is the CEO of a fintech company. Like that is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm geeking out. That's like so cool just to have that exposure like at you at such a close level. But I think you brought up so many good points. Number one, like doing things outside of your comfort zone. I feel like even when I was starting school, I'm like, yeah, like this kind of sucks. Like I've never done anything like this before. And then especially like in a new country, like that's a whole nother level of like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? So talk a little bit about like your experience abroad, what that was like, the transition, and yeah, tell us about that.
Oh, it was difficult. Like coming into Italy, I can't speak Italian. It's been like 2 years and I still can't speak Italian. I'm not so good with languages, but I try to find my way around. So my big problem right now is with the language. It's a big barrier. Like trying to communicate, trying to make friends, trying to go out and have a good time is still a big thing for me. So moving here, going to school, mostly after class, I just disappear because hey, I can't speak the language. But the thing was like my course is actually in English. So it's good to understand what is going on, follow classes. Then when I'm done with classes, I had a couple of friends from India, Pakistan, from Ethiopia, and they speak English. So I could get by with them. Then after class, I just disappear. I'm gone. No one sees me. So it was quite difficult. I'm still adjusting because I left Rome, I think 2020 June, because of the pandemic. I went back to Ghana. I came back in March and I left because I had to go work outside of Rome. So I had to leave again. And I came back in July. And I've been around since. Yeah, but it's not so bad, but I can't speak the language. So I think that's the only problem.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Italy. I'm thinking like what is that the Colosseum? Like I just think pizza, but I know that's very stereotypical, so I didn't want to say pizza. But what is like? Are you tired of Italian food? Like, what is your go-to meal? I want to go to Italy so bad.
I actually love seafood pasta. So you always get me eating that. I love seafood pasta. I love seafood like in general. Anything with seafood got my attention. And I love tiramisu. I eat tiramisu almost every day. There's this coffee shop right at the junction. I just walk and get myself tiramisu because I love tiramisu. And I think we have the best ice creams in the world. Yeah, so Italy is a good place to be. And you get to tour, you get to see Vatican, you get to see the Colosseo.
Wow.
You get to see so many beautiful places. So yeah, it's
okay. I'm like ready to buy my ticket. When you said tiramisu, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had tiramisu cheesecake the other day. And of course, like it's not the Italian level, but I was like, oh, this is so good. So I mean, you gotta send me some like authentic.
I think 2 days ago, I actually walked into the shop and just grabbed 2 of those because it's amazing. I just love it.
Oh my gosh. I could talk all day about food, and now I'm like really hungry. I'm like, I need some shrimp Alfredo or some shrimp fettuccine. But the other thing that you talked about is like going to a new country and not knowing the language. And that is such a struggle. Like I just want to give props to you because like when I studied abroad, I went to Korea. It was for 6 months. And the program that I was in, like a lot of people spoke English. But even then I was like, number one, I was so scared to even try to speak in Korean because I was like, it's just not gonna sound right. Like they're gonna be like, what are you saying? And then I was like, all right, like let me just know like the few words that I need to get around to like bathroom, like let me get some more of this, like at the restaurant. And I was like, okay, I can do this. But it's definitely like learning a language is hard. It's definitely
it's hard. I don't know how other people do it because for me, I just know some words and I still can't form like a complete sentence, but I know how to. Yep. But sometimes when they speak, I understand exactly what they are saying, but to reply, I can't reply. I don't know why. But I'm hoping that probably in the long run, I'm just going to pick it up. Hopefully. I just pray so because I can't be here and not speak the language. It's bad.
No, it'll come to you. Like one day you just wake up and you'll be speaking like straight Italian.
Yeah. I can't wait.
And the language is so beautiful. Like I think like a lot of European languages are beautiful and African languages as well. Well, honestly, anything besides English, I'm like, oh, like it's just a beautiful language. I feel like English is so boring. But it's just awesome just to be surrounded by like all that culture and being exposed to like different things. So like coming from or like growing up in Ghana, right, and then going to study in like Italy and things like that. What things like in terms of just like mindset or like culture, like what was that like just being exposed to something that was different from what you were used to?
I think coming here, I actually grew up. What I mean by that was in Ghana, as I said, I was in my comfort zone. I only knew the things that I was introduced to and the things that I grew up to. And coming here, I had to do a lot of things on my own, walk to the bank on my own, speak to people on my own. And it felt different. It felt like, okay, I'm no longer the baby I used to be back home where if I'm confused, I can just go like, hey, Dad, I'm confused. Let's go. I need you.
Right.
Yes, I was on my own. I had to basically do everything on my own. Sometimes I end up with some friends who can speak the language who I call, okay, can you help me? And maybe they are busy, maybe not. Then they go with me. But most of the things I basically did on my own. So it forced me to grow up, to kind of accept that, okay, I'm not home and I need to grow up to learn how to do things on my own. And to also like, one thing about me in Ghana, I was timid. Like, I get scared if I'm supposed to walk into a room and talk to people. Even if it's just to buy something, I get really scared. But Ghana, I was kind of used to it because everybody there was Ghanaian, like technically. But here, it kind of feels like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I get scared. I get nervous when I'm supposed to walk to buy something or to do something. So I had to like grow up just to learn how to fit in or, just to get by the day. Yeah. So basically.
Yeah. No, that's so, so important. I think the way you phrased it is perfect, right? Like you are going for something that you've known like your whole life, you're comfortable,
Yeah.
and then it kind of like forces you to get out of your comfort zone, be independent, and like have that growth. And it's definitely scary, right? But I think so
It's
far, like
scary.
even
It's really
even what
scary.
you're saying, right? Like
Yeah.
you've
Because
it's definitely benefited you in positive ways. Yeah, go ahead.
like thinking back, my dad never wanted me to leave in the first place because he was like, "Oh, you're my baby. I don't want you to go." And
Mhm.
when I first got here and things started hitting me in my face, I was like, "My dad was right. I'm
You're
the baby."
right. Let me go back.
Yeah, you know? But I said to myself, I'm already out. And
Yeah.
another reason why I was always, because even with undergrad, I didn't want to school in Ghana. I wanted to go out. So the more reason
Mhm.
why I wanted to go out was to meet people, understand the
Yeah.
culture, understand how people behave, what drive people to do certain things. And I
Mhm.
was actually happy I did that transition. Coming here and schooling here, meeting people, making friends with people from a different background, it kind of makes you learn and always want to be better, thrive, just to get to understand how people behave. So you know how to deal with different kinds of people, basically. Yeah.
That's a word right there. That right there, like that. Ooh, I'm gonna have to replay that. Like just everything you said. That was gems. I think like having that world view of something that's just like outside of everything you've ever known just makes you that much better of like a human, and it just makes you a great
Yeah.
person. So, props to you for taking this step. That was so funny because
Thanks.
even even when you said like, oh, your dad was like, he didn't want you to go. I was like, my parents are the same way. I was like, oh, guys, like I want to go study abroad. My mom was like, hey, what is this study abroad? Like, no one in our family has ever gone to Korea. Like, you can go to Europe. Like, that's even a stretch. Like, you have to go somewhere where there's family. And I was like, no, mom, like, please, like, I really want to do this. And then eventually, like, my uncle, like, kind of softened her up and they were like, okay. But it's definitely like, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not a parent, but having like I'm the last born too. So, maybe
Oh,
last
me
born got
too.
rocked together.
Yeah.
you know. But I think it's so funny when you go from, they like want you to be safe, they want you to be comfortable. But sometimes you have to leave the nest and, like get that experience. So I'm glad that you took that step and that, things are working out now. At first it was a little, but it sounds like you've like acclimated well and that you're enjoying it. So
Yeah.
it's good to hear. Okay, so let's dive into the data. Let's start with specifically, let's start with Tableau. Like, so you started your master's. How did you get first introduced to Tableau?
Good question. Good question. First, I want to say I'm still doing my master's. I was supposed to
Yeah.
finish school last year, but because of COVID, I went back home and I was stressed and I just needed a break from everything.
Yeah.
But before I went home, I had to do a project and I wanted to visualize the data in a certain way that I couldn't find an answer to it. So I was just browsing the internet and I came across something. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Then I realized that the tool was Tableau. So the first thing I did was I called a friend. He's in UK right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's I think a business intelligence engineer in the UK right now. But as at that time, he was also a data science student. So I called him and I was like, hey, I just found something so awesome, so cool. So I could call him and we'll be on the line for hours just trying to figure out Tableau, like just trying to build a dashboard. So I quite remember my first dashboard was about COVID because that was the hot topic of the day. Like everybody was talking about it. Everybody wanted to see the numbers, what's happening in what country and everything. So that was the very first dashboard I created with him. Like, so he was on the other line creating his own version of it. And I was also creating my own version of it, but we're just communicating, trying to understand how it works. That's how I got introduced to Tableau. It was crazy. But from one project, it moved me to loving Tableau. And that's what I do almost every day.
Wow. Wait, that is so cool. I love that you like found this thing. You like just reached out to your friend. You're like, hey, like let's work on this together. Let's understand this together. Because I think like collaboration is so important when you're doing things, or even if you're working on something like alone, like getting that feedback or just like having another set of eyes or someone to bounce your ideas off of is so powerful. So that's so funny that you just like stumbled upon it. I feel like people either have like two stories of how they started like with Tableau. It's either they like stumbled upon it or they were like, yes, like I knew I just like I knew it. Like I just dove into it. But no, that's really interesting. Let me also just say, Jaffa is a Tableau public featured author. We give little claps. Okay, yes. And so I've been following your work for a long time. One of the things that I love that you visit about is Ghana, of course, because I love Ghana. But I love how I was actually just talking about this in a Twitter thread the other day, about how like typically like Africa is portrayed in the media as like poverty, disease, like that's the only thing that is important or whatever. But I think you and a few other authors, like when I think of Africa and I think of just visits that portray it in a beautiful light, like you're one of the first people that come to mind. So talk a little bit about, and I remember seeing your last year at the Tableau conference, your Viz in the Viz gallery. So talk a little bit about number one, where you get your data from, because we need to know the secret. And then number two, what it was. Yeah, let's start with that, and then we'll come back.
Okay, so with the gallery thing, it was, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting it, and then when I found out, I was humbled. I was like, oh my goodness, I never saw this coming. And the good thing was, last year, I don't know if you know Lawe, he's in the community as well. He was featured, and that was when I had started Tableau and didn't know exactly what I was doing. So I reached out to him, and he's been a good mentor to me. He kind of like directs me how to go about things, and sometimes he comes up on blogs and it's like, oh, this is good for you, take it, and he just shares it with me. So me building the Viz with him was a way for me to grow up and learn from him. And it was really a good experience for me because he's used Tableau for a while. So me learning from him, it was pretty awesome because he listens to me. When we talk, he listens to my idea and we're like, okay, what if we do it this way? Oh yeah, your idea is great. Let's do it that way. And it makes me feel like I'm part of the whole process. Yeah. So with that, it was a very good experience. And what happened was we wanted to do this Viz, but no data, lack of data in Ghana. So what happened? We had to keep researching, and we found out that Wikipedia has the data, but it doesn't really have what we wanted to see, because we wanted to see gender inequality. It just has the names and the regions where they are a member of parliament of, but it didn't have the name. So what can we do? And we came across a Python library that can fetch the first name and tell if it's a male or a female. But the only problem is Ghana, we have local names. So that library would completely work. So what we did was we kept, we'll take the name, we'll Google the name, we'll see the picture. Oh, that's a lady. Then we'll go back, try to clean it out, try to make sure that we have all the gender right. So it's not biased, because we didn't want a biased data. We are trying to tell a story and we didn't want anything biased. So once we did that, I was like, okay, I think this works. Now let's build our dashboard. So basically we use Wikipedia, because as at the time we're doing it, the official website didn't have the data. So we had to use Wikipedia, and we had to do a lot of research just to get the names right and to make sure that, okay, that's a male or that's a female, because that's all we're basically looking at, gender inequality. Data in Ghana is very, very lacking. And most of my visits about Ghana, it's a struggle because there's no data and I have to look for the data. So sometimes it takes me 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days looking for the right data. But if I don't have the right data, I can't tell a good story.
Yes.
But
wow.
Recently, I think there's an initiative from Ghana trying to gather data. I'll share the link with you one of these days. There's an initiative from Ghana and they're trying to gather as much data as they can. So once that is out of the way, I think there'll be more visits about Ghana.
That's awesome. Okay, that's beautiful. First of all, I did not know that there was so much that went on behind the scenes. That's the crazy thing about when you see a Viz and something, you're like, wow, that's beautiful. But when you really you don't actually sometimes grasp how much work and how much behind the scenes action went into making that the product that it is. And I just I never knew that there was so much behind the scenes. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. You guys were Googling all the names, that's a lot. And the end product was beautiful, but sometimes we just forget about the journey to get there. So I think that just makes it 10 times more impressive. I'm like, wait, y'all did all of this? Now I'm even more impressed. So congratulations again. That was definitely an amazing Viz. I think just even hearing about the process of how you guys were able, you were still a beginner-ish, maybe.
I was still a beginner. Yeah,
you were still a beginner. we're all beginners out here. But the fact that like it was still a partnership, it was a collaboration. It wasn't like it wasn't just like, oh, like he was like taking the reins and doing all the work. The fact like you could contribute and it was a partnership, I think is really awesome and just speaks to like the mentorship relationship and the fact that like you could develop and actually participate. So I love that. It makes me love the Viz like even more. I'm just like, this is a work of art. And I'm excited to hear that Ghana is hopefully like developing more data and making that open and publicly available. Props to you though for like taking the initiative and like finding that data. I think it's easy. Like for me, it's easy to just like, you know, get like a little CSV file and make it big. Yeah. Collecting the data and like doing the research. That's the real like that's the mining for gold. So I mean, I definitely.
I also think it was because of sorry to catch you, but I also think it was because of the topic. The topic was very important. It was very crucial. And for me, inequality is something I even look into. So currently I'm doing something with that. So I'm actually looking at inequality with gender pay gap. And it's a big thing. It's a huge thing. So we really wanted to have our facts right and tell a good story and not just tell any story based on any data we come across. So we had to make sure it was the right thing we were doing.
I love that. I love that. Oh, wow. Whew. Okay. I'm still like in shock from the whole entire process. But so diving a little bit deeper into like your process when you're making visits and things like that, what is your breakdown in terms of like researching data to then like figuring out like layout or what story you want to tell? And then also like, do you use any other tools besides Tableau or you're just like Tableau, that's it?
Yeah. Well, for me, most of the time it starts with the topic. Once I get the topic, once I want to see what exactly I want to do, then I dive into the data. I'll do a lot of research trying to find which data actually would flow with my topic, what I want to visualize on. Once I get the data, I have to go back in and clean it. That's one thing that is really annoying, but I love to do because if your data is not clean, whatever you do wouldn't make sense. So
right.
After getting the topic, I get the data to go with the topic, I clean it, and I try to understand, okay, this is the questions I want to ask, and these are the charts I want to answer with these questions. When I first started with Tableau, my layout was really bad. I really had like bad layouts. Like I could spend days trying to arrange things, trying to get a good layout. By the end of the day, my layout will still be bad. So now what I do is, after answering each question, I take my pen and my paper and I start to draw. And I start to try. Yeah, I draw. So right now, I have a book by me that anytime I'm working and I have to build a dashboard for work, I actually draw the dashboard. And then I know exactly where I want everything to be. So once I finish drawing it and I want to bring a background behind, I go to either Adobe XD Design or Figma. Design the background and bring it back into Tableau. So the tools I basically use is Tableau, Adobe XD Design, or Figma, and sometimes PowerPoint.
Okay. Good to know. I love that you do like a little sketch before you even like do anything. I think that's such like a powerful way to like see your ideas and make sure, you know, it's looking and just have that. Because oftentimes, like, I'll think of stuff in my head, and then it'll be like, okay, let me try and translate it. And then it'll be like, all right, maybe I should just, like, jot this down or, like, sketch it out. Because I think it helps you, like, clarify things and be like, oh, okay, like, this is just getting your thoughts into paper. So I think that's a really good practice. I'm so bad at drawing and art.
I'm also bad, but I try my best. I'm really bad. But another thing I also do is after putting everything together, I save the dashboard as a picture and try to open and view it from a picture point of view. Like I just view it, and if it doesn't look good as a picture, I have to go back and redesign it.
That's a hack right there. That's a hack. Wow. Wait, I love that. I actually really love that. Okay, maybe we just jot down some notes. Like, no, that's actually not like a really good tip. I think like sometimes you get so into like whatever you're building that it's like hard to like take a step back and be like, let me just look at this. But now you're like, you say, you see the screenshot, you look at it, you're like, okay, like if this is not making sense, then we got to change something. I think
Yeah,
that's
because
a really good.
with the image, it gives you the whole dashboard at once. So you can
Yes.
actually look at it and see if you've incorporated good spacing and if you've arranged each chart well, that it flows through the whole storytelling thing.
Yeah.
So if you do that, you see everything. If it doesn't sit well, you go like, okay, let's go back. Let's just change some things.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I know you mentioned a little bit. You also kind of sketch when you're doing dashboards for work too. So you can kind of walk us through like what a day in the life, well, every day is different, but a day in the life of what work looks like, or maybe a favorite internship. And like, yeah, just what you did and the experiences that you had there.
Sure. My first real like internship was with Approve. It's a fintech company in Ghana, and I was basically like doing like pipelining stuff and doing research, and I did more of research. And then
Mhm.
my next internship, I was like, okay, this is Tableau internship. So yes, I love what I'm doing because it made
Yes.
me want to learn more. It made me want to provide dashboards to management that made sense, that I don't have to be there, and they see and appreciate that this is the work done and we can make decisions based on this dashboard.
Yes.
So from there, I worked with, it was also a fintech in Ghana. So I worked for a couple of months as an intern. Then I moved into a junior analyst. And I spent just like 2 months and I got my major contract with World Food Program. So I left.
Oh.
And so I left to Afghanistan, Kabul, where I stayed for just 4 months. And I came back to Rome. And over there, what I do in a day is Tableau and also pipelining. So I write a lot of scripts. I write a lot of Python script to fetch the data, clean out the data, standardize it, and then use Tableau desktop to visualize it. Sometimes I have to write script with Python to convert the data into an extract and publish back to the server so I can pick the data from the server to my dashboard, which makes it very easy for the data to always be fresh. So the
Mhm.
dashboard would always have the latest data. It's pretty cool because in that role, I've actually grown up a lot with Tableau because that's what I do every day.
Yeah.
The fact that I would say Tableau in 2020 helped me a lot. It took me from a very dark phase of my life, and it was something that kept me going. Like, okay, Tableau. So if I'm sad, you come to the room and you find me moving things around on my screen because I felt like it made me happy. I felt like it gave me that kind of like assurance that everything is okay. So now that I work every day with Tableau, I kind of have grown up in the way I used to visualize. I
Mhm.
don't really share most of my work, but most of the things I do are like business like dashboards. And I've actually grown up a lot, like in terms of developing dashboards for management that I don't have to be there to explain, which is excellent.
That's powerful. I first of all, you're like a world traveler. Like Afghanistan, Rome, Ghana. You've been everywhere. But no, I think that's so awesome. Just hearing about your experience and about how, like, number one, it's not just Tableau. Like you're writing script, you're doing all of this, and I think that you have such just like an arsenal of just amazing skills that you're putting together. I definitely relate to what you're saying about having Tableau just be like that. Like I don't know, like not the software itself, but just like going into, like making a viz, just there's just this like freeing form. Like even when I'm stressed or something, I'll just open up and start visiting, and there's just like this calm and this peace that
Yeah.
comes over me. And I think like honestly, I think I've lost that a little bit. Like I've kind of like turned it into something where I'm like, okay, this is no longer a hobby. It's like something you gotta like do. But I remember when I would just like go on and like feel that calm, and I'm like, you just say that just made me like remind myself that like I started this because it's something that I enjoy and that it brings me
Yeah.
peace and calmness.
Yeah.
So I think that point right there. So just talking a little bit about like from 20. So you started in the community like 2020 or
Yes.
2019. Okay, so all the
2020.
years mixed together. So I'm like,
Yeah.
but so talk a little bit about how like the work that you did, just like for fun, like like making visits about Ghana, like your resume, or just different things about like there was one of your visits about that just came out, The Boondocks. I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes. I can't really relate to that. But there's one of Will Smith, Bob Marley. Like, talk about how that kind of work, that personal work, kind of either relates to your work or kind of helped you in the work that you're doing now, if it did.
Okay, so one thing about me is I believe the more I build, the more I learn, and the more I become good at whatever I do. So before I lost the content on my laptop, but before I had a lot of visualization that I have done that I haven't posted, because I use that as a way to kind of practice, to kind of polish whatever I know. And so most of the time I get topics and I go like, okay, this is a good topic. I build, and when I look at the dashboard, I'm like, okay, this is not good enough. Because sometimes I don't really have the courage to put the work out there. So most of the time I show it to Lawe and he goes like, oh my God, this is good. You should publish it. And
Yes.
it can take me like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I publish one work. And he doesn't get it. But sometimes I feel like, okay, probably it's not good enough to come out. So it sits on my machine and I keep making changes as and when I feel like it. The reason why I do all these things, because I feel like it's a way for me to grow. It's a way for me to see things and learn how to build a lot of things and incorporate these actions we know to make it a very beautiful viz. So the topics on Will Smith, Boondocks are just for fun. They are, I have a caption for it, viz for fun. And what it does is that I'm just learning how to do things, but at the same way, having fun with it and visualizing topics that I love. Because for Boondocks, I love Boondocks. And I've watched it 1,000 times. I love Boondocks. When I was in uni, I used to watch it a lot. That's everything I watch. Like, I keep it all the time. So it just popped up into my head. I was like, okay, let's do a visualization on Boondocks. Just one day, just pop up. And I scraped the data and I went back to Lawe and I was like, what do you think about a visualization on Boondocks? It's like, okay, I think it would be good. You have to see your data. So when I saw my data, I was like, my data is only about like the episode, the title, when it was aired, and the ratings and the number of votes in terms of ratings. Mm-hmm. So looking at it, I was like, it's a little bit, it's not too much. So what can I do with it? And the first thing that came into my mind was there's a timeline. So you should have a timeline. Right. And the next thing that came into my mind was, okay, we can do ratings per episode, because then I had the ratings of the episode. And at that time, I'm not so good with radial chat. So I was like, okay, let's learn how to build a radial chat, because
yes.
Yeah. So basically those visits are visits for me to learn things I don't know, or things I've never done before, or I've never visited or created before in one of my visits. So it just makes me go just to learn and be good.
I love it. I asked that question because I feel like sometimes people are either like, yes, like have a Tableau public profile. It's good for like, just building your portfolio so you can talk about in interviews. And there's like another group of people that are like, you would never build a radial bar chart at work. And it's like, okay, yeah, like you probably wouldn't. But I definitely like agree with what you're saying with just like being in the tool and just like learning and doing things for fun. I'm like, I want to do this. Like sometimes it's not as exciting to look at like profit, like year over year profit, like for like every year. Like, I mean, sometimes it is exciting. I mean, I'm a nerd, but sometimes you just want to visit about the Boondocks and doing that, you're still learning the tool. And I love what you said about the more that you build, right, the more that you learn. And I think that mindset is really powerful, and that's just the way that you should be thinking about it. So I feel like there's so much more that we can talk about, but it's been a minute. So let's start the wrap up. In terms of the first last question. Okay, what advice would you give for anybody who's thinking about getting involved in the data field, analytics, visualization? Any advice on starting, or something you wish you had known when you were starting?
Okay. This is a very good question, right? I think mostly what I tell people is, if you think that this is the path you want to go, like follow, the first thing you have to do is to believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. Believe that, okay, I've chosen this for a reason and I have to follow through with it. So once you can believe, you can achieve it. That's it. The first thing is to believe. And for me, when I started, I was a bit timid. I wasn't really like, I didn't think I could do it. That kind of feeling. And I think if I should go back 2 years back and tell the old Jifa, I'll just tell her that you just have to believe, and always make sure that you practice, always make sure that you're looking for resources, information to help you grow. So another thing I'll tell whoever is listening who wants to go into Tableau is don't be afraid to reach out to people. For me, when I first saw the featured authors, because that was the first time I was seeing it, and I was like, okay, this person is from Ghana. It looks like I can just reach out. The normal me wouldn't do that. But there was something that was telling me, get out of your comfort zone, get out, try to reach out because you want to learn this too. So I just took his email. I just went to look for him on LinkedIn. I was like, there you go. And I sent a message that, hey, I'm new. I had built a visualization then. I think it was on Makeover Monday and had published it. But I just took it. I didn't take it out. I just sent him the visualization and I was like, can you help me make this better? Or do you think there's something that I didn't do right that I can make better? And that's how it started, just to reach out. So I'll tell whoever wants to start, be you, have faith, believe that you can do it, and don't be afraid to ask for help, basically.
I feel like that was like an award accepting speech. That was beautiful. I needed to hear that advice, so thank you. Because sometimes you just like, I don't know what it is, but you just don't believe in yourself. There's some things you're just like, I don't know if I can do this. But I think all those things you mentioned are beautiful and so motivating. So thank you. So where can our listeners find you? Twitter, Tableau Public, give us all the tea because I know people are going to want to connect with you.
On Twitter, Gigi_Quist, that's DZI _ QUIST. On LinkedIn, it's, oh my God, my name is too long. It's Maureen Jifa Awumi Quist. Same name on Tableau Public. And I sometimes post my vids on Instagram just to drive people's attention to it. And on Instagram, it's the same name as Twitter, Gigi_Quist.
Okay, beautiful. Our final question. So we covered data. We had some good laughs. And lifestyle. And we had some good laughs. Anyway, the final two questions are, one, what makes you feel like your best self or what inspires you every day? The first one.
What inspires me every day? Wow. Okay.
Like, this is deep.
It goes deeper than that, you know. But for me, waking up to know that I'm not the same person from yesterday is something that will keep me going. Because the last time I spoke to someone, I told her that in a year or two, I want to be Jifa version 5.0 or version 10.0. Okay. What I mean by that is to be the best version I can ever be, to learn more and to always be the kind of person where people can come to and I can assist people in terms of career, in terms of whatever I can help with. And for me to wake up knowing that I can be that kind of person in people's lives, or I can wake up and know that the old me that was timid or the old me that was afraid to be herself is no longer the same person, keeps me going. Just that.
Oh man, I just need to like have this replay because literally like I just feel the passion and just like the energy that when you're giving these answers, and it's just so heartwarming. So thank you for that. Finally, the last thing is, I know you mentioned you love dancing, and you also love photography, baking. Girl, you be doing everything. So what has brought you joy in the past week or two that you've just been like, oh my gosh, like I feel amazing? You've done a good dance workout. What have you been doing?
Okay, and I think last week I was very down. Last week I was really, really down. I don't know what was happening to me, but I just started playing music and I just started moving around the house, started just dancing. And I felt really good after that. I felt like, okay, something has just been lifted. I don't know, because I was really feeling very down. And one thing that keeps me going is, for me, sometimes when I go through something I can't really explain, I tend to write. And that's how come my poetry or my poems come about. I just write how I feel at a particular period of time. And once I write it, it's like, okay, it's gone. I'm done with it. Like, I can move on now. So these are the things that actually keep me going. And also for the fact that I know that I can just fall back on family and family would always be there for me.
Yes. Oh, amen to that. That was a word. Let's let that sit in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jafal. This has been amazing. I also love it because you're my name twin. This is so pathetic. Because listen, as a child, like I was, and we were talking about this a little bit before. Like you go on vacation, like you go somewhere, can never find my name on the keychain. Like it's fine. And like when I was younger, I really like I was so not that I didn't like my name, but I was just like definitely insecure about it because I was like, oh, like I can't find the keychains, da 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 da. And it wasn't until I probably like, got into college where I was like, yes, like I love my name, like I'm proud of it. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I remember my mom telling me that they're like in Ghana, like there are famous people named Jafar, and I was like, wait, what do you mean they're fit? Like my name is famous. But anyway, I think it's funny because like we both kind of have that like, okay, yes, like at home, like my family calls me like Jafar, like that's what I respond to. I can hear my mom screaming me to come wash the dishes, like, and she's not calling me Ziffa. But like there's definitely like that. My mom's just like I had asked her one day, I was like, so where did Ziffa come from? She's like, oh, that's just like the Americanized way to say your name. I was like, okay, you guys definitely just made that up, but it's fine. Anyway, I say all that to say it's awesome to be my name twin. And I love it. We have beautiful names. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. This was such an amazing episode. It's Monday, and I definitely woke up this morning. I was just like, just not feeling it. But after this conversation, I'm not gonna I'm ready to finish my day. I feel inspired. I feel motivated. I'm gonna keep this energy throughout the week. So thank you so much for blessing us with your presence and with your knowledge. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. All right, that's all for this episode. We will see you guys next time. Goodbye.